Hey, so today I want to elaborate a little bit more on the Minute-ish Monday I did when I was in Mexico on how charting with Creighton can really help strengthen your marriage. And you might see a little bambino pop in and out here or there throughout our experience today. But anyway, when I think back on my experience with my cycle, I think a lot about how difficult it was and is by myself, before I even started dating. And then when I was dating, it was always something that was just me. It's just the woman. It's a lot of times a burden that we feel as women because we're the ones that are quite literally experiencing all the symptoms, the bleeding, the pain, the side effects, the hormonal side effects, and everything that affects us. It affects our lives very specifically. So Chris and I were dating when I discovered about Creighton and decided to start on the process. And so what happened was we both went to this first session together where we were educated. They had a Creighton practitioner who basically taught both of us a lot of information about what is going on within my body, the woman's body, month to month. It was kind of like a little science class, which if you're like me, you can benefit from a refresher from that kind of stuff because it's been a while. But it was also really interesting because it is very nice to know what is going on from month to month, day to day with my hormones and my body and just my system. You okay there? This was very helpful to learn, but the coolest thing is that I wasn't the only one learning about it. Chris, my future husband, was learning about it too. So just with that one session, it quickly became something that not just I am experiencing, but that we're both experiencing. And the coolest thing is that it's no longer a burden that I have on myself alone. Now it's still a burden. I'm still dealing with all that stuff, but now my future spouse, and now that we're married, he understands, even though he's not experiencing the things himself, he understands what's happening at different times of the month. He understands. He knows when to expect my cycle, when it's going to start. He can look at my chart and understand, I know you hate this word mucus, but he understands what the different kinds of mucus means. He understands when I'm fertile, when I'm not. Exactly. I'm not fertile women aren't fertile every day of the month. And so it really helps us. So then when we're going to either every month, either we're going to achieve a pregnancy or we're going to try to achieve a pregnancy or we're going to try to avoid a pregnancy. Well, this makes us talk about it. And so it's helping our communication. It's helping our growing trust and growing in a deeper unity with each other. We're making the decisions together. It's not something that I'm just like, oh, we can do this time because I am or I am not fertile, or we can't do this because this reason. We're in it together. It is completely strengthening our bond as a married couple. What else is really cool about it, and in the sense that I'm not doing it by myself anymore, when you're charting, you're paying very close attention to the information your body is giving you every single day. And so you write that down every day. And yeah, it's a little bit more work than when you're not charting, but it gives you so much information that's so valuable. So it ends up being okay in the end. It ends up being worth it, basically. So a lot of couples that I know like to share in that responsibility. So your husband, your spouse, can be writing it for you, basically. And so at night I would tell Chris, or whenever you decide to write down your charting, he would say, okay, so what do I write for this day? And I would tell him. So again, we're doing it together. It's taking some of the responsibility off of me, and it's keeping him in the know. It's keeping him aware of everything that's going on with my body, just like I am now aware of everything that's going on in my body. Now, I'm gonna be real honest with you. This is not something that we haven't been great at it. He doesn't always write it down for me. There's been months that he doesn't, and right now, hold that thought. So right now is a time where he hasn't been writing it for me. And so it's a challenge to kind of get in that habit. But even if he's not writing, if I'm writing it, he'll be like, okay, what are you today? So he's still aware. He's still paying attention to it. It's definitely a goal I think most couples can set for themselves to try to do it together and stick with it, so it takes the burden off the one person and really becomes something to bond together in your marriage. If you can imagine the possibilities that can come from that. A lot of couples have talked about how switching, getting off birth control to doing a method like charting has really helped their marriage and their communication in that aspect. Now, I know a lot of you might be looking at me saying, Mary, this all sounds really great, but there's no way that my man is gonna come with me to a class like that and just learn about my body. You know, and I'm not saying it's gonna be easy. Maybe some men will be harder to get on board with this than others. But I think this is really important, and I'm not saying it's gonna take a day, but if you understand the value that this is and the strength that it can bring to your marriage, you know, it's worth taking the time to share with him. This is important to me. This is gonna help strengthen our marriage. I mean, if you're on birth control, maybe, you know, like, again, this is a burden that is all on you that shouldn't need to be, that does not need to be. So if you understand how important this is and the value that it can bring to your life and your relationship, it might change things a little bit. This is all about empowering you, empowering women, empowering yourself and your relationship, empowering both of you to make solid decisions about your health and your health care together. Because it's not just the woman. It's not just the woman's fertility. It is very much the man and the woman's fertility. So don't get discouraged. You know, I think that a lot of men might be closer than you think that they are to this type of thing, because it'll improve the quality of life for both of you, not just the woman. And maybe you have to drag them to the first session to learn a little bit about it, but it's gonna be worth it in the end. Stay strong and keep pushing on, and it will be worth it, I promise. Just something else to think about that you might not have when you're considering how you're gonna monitor your fertility. I'll talk to y'all soon. Have a great week. Peace.